What's up? What's good? What it do? What it is? What up though? What up with it? However you say it, wherever you're from, once again, thank you for being with us. I am one half of our co-hosting team, Steve, and this here is my beautiful wife, Liz. And this is Marriage for Grown Folks. All right? A safe space, once again, guys, a safe space for you guys to come and kick it with us. If you subscribe to this beautiful thing that we call marriage, all right, this institution, this lifelong commitment, this is a place for you. All right, we won't talk about everything, but we'll do our best to talk about some good things. And in the edutainment world, we hope that we can help educate you and hopefully turn you into someone who might want to share in this thing that we call marriage.
Absolutely.
All right. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Awesome. Good to see you.
It's good to see you,
As
too.
if we didn't see each other all day long, right?
We can finally talk to each other.
Right. We don't talk on Wednesdays. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
We don't do too much talking.
It's been a little bit of banter, I would say, throughout the day, but we have been. I've kind of been in my space. You've been in yours. So, yeah, I think we're ready.
All right. Let's get to it.
Ready?
Let's get to it. So first things first, temp check.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Knock it out.
Okay. So this is a song. Okay. So I want to ask you, what song takes you into a serene place of nostalgia?
Ooh, nostalgia.
Nostalgia. Yep.
Nostalgia. You go first, so I can. You know this is music, so I want to make sure I get it right.
Yeah.
So you go
and I've
first.
I've been already thinking about this.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna go to. I think it's always nice to just go with your first instinct.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did sit with it, but my first instinct was Lisa Nicole Jam. It was I wonder if I take you home. And
I wonder if I take you home.
Mm-hmm. I hope I said the title right.
I'm pretty sure you got it.
Okay, cool.
Because I need you tonight.
That's it. Yes, because it reminds me. Okay, so a little bit of background information. A couple days ago was the anniversary of my grandmother's passing. And this is, some years it's tough, some years it's not.
Right.
This year it was not. There was a lot of thoughts about when she made me laugh and certain things. Well, this particular song reminds me of being in the projects with her and hearing it playing. My grandmother would never be playing this music, but just reminds me of calmer days.
Yeah.
More fun, less responsibility. I was probably like 5 or 6 when the song came out, but I remember it vividly. I remember we were walking to go get ices.
Ices.
Yes.
What was your favorite color? What was your favorite, not color?
My flavor? Grape. Grape was always my favorite.
Grape or red?
Yeah, grape. Definitely grape. So anyway, when I think of the song, I think of times with my grandmother, well, at her house in the projects, and getting we had a 25 cents so that we could go and get the icy. The limbe.
What project, ma'am?
Oh, are we saying that?
Why not?
Okay, Charter Oak.
Charter Oak.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
She was on D side. She was on D side. Brookfield Street.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. I dig it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes you feel like home, huh?
It makes me feel like home. It just makes me feel really happy. Like I said, it was like summer. So whenever I think of the song, it's always like an upbeat kind of feeling. So I know nostalgia can be sad or happy. This is definitely a happy space for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
That's a good prompt. For me, what takes me back to nostalgia, and I can smell the smells and feel the feels. I gotta go keep on moving, soul to soul.
Oh wow!
It's just so freeing. And when I talk about, I can smell the ground. I can see like it. You can see it fuzzy in your imagination, if you will. And I guess that's nostalgia, right? But I'm thinking about early 90s. That might be 92.
Okay.
Right? So I can see the Knockers. Remember the Knockers when we were playing with the Knockers? I'm thinking In Living Color on Sundays. I can see my auntie Donna, laughing. I can imagine walking down Vine Street through Keeney Park, You know what I mean? With my headphones on, with the batteries about to die.
Wait, you said 92?
90, maybe is that 92, 93? Maybe? Is that 91, 92?
So I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I feel like it was later 80s.
No, Soul to Soul, that's definitely 90s. Definitely 90s, without a doubt, 90s.
Okay, was it like 89?
No, definitely 90s. Yep.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm either on Violent Terrace or I'm in East Windsor, which definitely is 90s. Because it was definitely 90. It might be 91, but it's definitely not 80s.
Because I think of camp. I think of summer camp when
Soul
I think
to
of the
Soul,
song.
Soul to Soul is definitely a 90s groove.
Oh, but maybe I'm mixing it up. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Keep on moving. Don't stop. It's a nice groove. It's a nice vibe. And yeah, that takes me right back to early puberty. So I'm thinking 91, 92. All right, 91, 92. Yeah, I dig that.
Thank you.
Tim check. I like that Tim check. All right, I like that Tim check.
89.
It was 89?
See, I'm telling you.
It was 89?
It was 89.
Soul to Soul, Keep It Moving was 1989.
It was 1989.
So I was 9 years old.
Yeah. So because I was
But
like.
when did it release?
1989.
No, give me the month.
Oh, hold on. Let me see.
That's important. See, if we was live, I could ask a viewer. Somebody right now, Google.
All right, y'all gotta request it.
Right.
Leave it in the comments. So it was released in March of 1989.
March of 1989, which means that the summer was loaded with this song.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's not challenging at all, but that's what I was thinking because my thought of the song, when you said it, I immediately thought of standing in front of, I think it was Mary Hooker, waiting on the Camp Current bus. I was the orange. I was on the orange, in the orange group. Y'all remember the pins? You had to wear the pin. You make sure you have your pin. Anyway, so I remember listening to it. So when you said it, I thought of mine, but then immediately thought of yours. Like the smells, summer smells, mosquitoes.
Right.
All of that.
Right.
So yeah. So anyway, yeah.
Oh, that's a good Tim check. I dig that.
Thank you.
That's a good one. Oh, I like nostalgia too.
Me too.
Because even though in our heads it was an easier, better time, if you will, the adults had the same problem.
It was lighter.
Right.
Yeah.
Less responsibilities, still in our development, learning. But that song is, yeah, definitely. Yeah, very good. So, what are you listening to right now? I think I might have forgot last week to ask you, but what are you listening to? What's in your ears?
So today I was listening to Elmine again.
Okay.
But I hadn't heard him in a while. I was listening to like an old school playlist, and his Ode to War came on. If
you really dig into that, it's really a solid. It's a solid project. It's just not love. But I get it.
It's just not the same kind of vibe. But I was listening. I was trying to like not think about tonight.
Oh, okay. Trying to get your mind
so
off
I was like,
of it.
yeah, and it happened. One of the songs happened to come on. I said, let me listen. So yeah. What about you?
Right now, I'm in my BB and CC Winans bag.
I gathered that.
Yeah. Meantime, IOU. Yeah. I think we really forget about how incredible they were late 80s, early 90s as a brother and sister duo, and how vocally brilliant they were, especially BB. You know, Cece was the mechanic. You know what I mean? She kept it simple. She kept it beautiful. She's got range. But BB had style, pizzazz. He's fly with it. But those are some really, really good songs. You know, of course, everybody thinks about Heaven. But that ain't that. It's the other ones. You know what I mean? That didn't we get married to what was our song? Day by Day, No More Reaction.
That's what your parents sang.
Okay.
That song.
Okay.
So I have no prior like history or purview of
BB and CC.
nothing.
They were that deal. They were that deal. There were a couple other groups. I can't remember. I can't recall. But there were a couple other groups that kind of followed suit, followed in their footsteps, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't hit the same.
No.
Yeah, but BB and CC were legit. They were early. They didn't straddle the line, but they pushed the envelope, if you will, regarding the faith talk and the spirituality and the inspirational gospel. Because if you didn't say
like a fusion.
Yeah. Okay. Because if you didn't say Jesus 100 times and recite scripture, that wasn't gospel.
Oh.
You were secular. You was going to hell.
Maybe I need to listen.
Oh, they was tough.
Because I think they did. I think on like VH1 sometime in the not VH1. Sorry, it was on what was the name of the show on BET?
I don't remember.
Donnie Simpson and them.
Video Soul?
Video Soul, thank you.
Video Soul.
I said VH1 and I didn't.
Yeah,
exactly. So I didn't, thank you. Because I was like, VH1, no. Watching Video Soul, I think at one point they had put something out that was semi-secular.
Yeah. I'm sure
maybe, I don't know.
Probably got killed for it.
But that was my first like glimpse into BB and CC. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known who they were. Mm-hmm. And I just remember her smile.
Right.
It's like
Benjamin and Cecilia Winans.
Yeah.
Yep. They was tough. And if I'm not mistaken, I think BB had like a long beef with Pop, because Pop didn't let him be in the group, the big group, which was the Winans. Marvin, Carvin.
Oh, you mean his father?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I'm
wow.
sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I could be, misreading it or misrepresenting, but I'm sorry about that. But I'm pretty sure that there was like this, maybe a feud or an alt, if you will, because that was the big group. They was big time. That was the Winans. That was, and he wasn't in that group.
Oh.
But now, I guess.
Was he the oldest or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me. But now I guess you would say he's arguably the best vocalist. I'm arguing that, of course, but some would say he's the best vocalist. I'm going Marvin. I'm going Marvin all day long.
Okay.
The best voice, R. Kelly, Aaron Hall. They're
not Mario. Just kidding. I was just kidding.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I don't want to know.
Oh.
Just kidding.
Don't put them in the same world. But I get it. I get it.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
That was funny. Yeah. So that's what I'm on right now. Have a little fun with it. So let's go ahead and get into our
Shooting it straight.
Shooting it straight. Shooting it straight is our idea of a flyover of a few different ideas, topics, things that are happening in the world. Once again, I say it all the time, but everyone lives in their bubble. And so do we. We've got things that we get, we got kids and we've got, things that we're responsible for. And we can definitely lean one way sometimes. But I think this forces us to open our eyes a little more, to do a little more research and dig a little deeper, Yeah. So this is our segment that we call Shoot It Straight. So first things first, Lauryn Hill and Wyclef Jean. All right. Reunite, if you will, because I know they've been, connected early. I guess there was some love, for the Fugees, which even though they only have one album, is it one album?
It's just one.
One project
together.
They still will go down
or is
in
it
history.
Two?
I don't know if it's one or two, because once he did Carnival, and once she did her thing, they was pretty much off to the races.
Right, but there was like
the Refugee All Stars.
No. I was thinking about like a song that I liked that didn't really go anywhere, and then they did the second one.
What song is that?
A Mona Lisa.
I'm pretty sure that
wasn't on the. It wasn't.
That must have been on somebody's album. It got to be somewhere. But nonetheless, we move on. So Lauryn Hill, Wyclef, seeing them together, they performed at Roberta Flack's homegoing.
Yes,
so rest in peace to Roberta Flack.
Right.
If you don't know who Roberta Flack is, you please Google, do your research. She is very intricate and heavily sampled. So some of your favorite songs, are from Roberta Flack that a lot of our artists have redone. Specifically, Strumming My Pain with His Fingers, Singing My Life. That was Lauryn Hill doing her rendition of Roberta Flack. All right. So they were there at the homegoing, forgive me. And it was beautiful to see them. And of course, you know, it's viral. There's so many different angles they performed, but they did, from what I seen, I might have watched that. I might have watched that piece of content 1,000 times.
Yep.
You know, 1,000 times. Lauryn Hill, Lord have mercy. She did a wonderful job.
She did.
A magnificent job, a brilliant job. And for those of you saying, Steve, duh, that's Lauryn Hill. Duh, I know who Lauryn is, and I am the biggest fan of Lauryn Hill. Matter of fact, I got to get my T-shirt. I got to get my Miseducation T-shirt. And I lived through the Miseducation. I lived it. I didn't hear it late. I lived it.
Yeah.
We lived it. As I say, I have my subjective list of singers, of artists who are singers. That's S-A-N-G, not singers, who can just flat out go. You know what I mean? And I didn't have her on that list. But hearing Lauryn with that raspy but clear, she looked good. She looked vibrant. It was from her belly. She was singing, and she did that song so much justice in the right time.
Right.
You know, so I was just blown away how she sounded vocally. You know, and it just opened my eyes to how incredible of an artist she was, and will be forever. You know, how you feel about that, ma'am?
So specifically thinking about Lauryn Hill, or excuse me, let me backtrack a little bit. Rest in peace to Roberta Flack, right? Bunch of different performances. What I found when I was doing a little bit of the research, because I figured you would talk about her singing. I saw the clips as well. Blew me away.
Right.
We saw her in concert.
Right.
She did more preaching than she did singing.
Right.
Which was okay, but the audience was not feeling it, right? So there was that. So
and then her came and cleaned it up.
She did. She performed first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes. So definitely. But just thinking about how Lauryn Hill and Wyclef ended up on stage. They weren't even invited. Yeah, they weren't invited
to perform.
Right, to perform. So there were a bunch of different people, Stevie Wonder, India.Arie, Alicia Keys, all were there. I don't know if they were invited, but I'm assuming not invited to the service, but invited to perform. Right. But then Lauryn, she said something like, I knew if we showed up, of course they would allow us. Like, how, of course you make room for us, right? And so it had me thinking about what they had done for Killing Me Softly. Killing Me Softly.
I think I missed the actual title. Yep.
Yeah. What they did. Yeah. Well, they sang 2 songs.
Okay.
Or she did 2 songs.
I'm sorry to throw you off.
No, it's okay.
I didn't name the song earlier.
And right, so they performed Killing Me Softly, and then I didn't realize this. I thought Roberta Flack had done the original for Killing Me Softly, but it was a cover for her as well.
It was a cover for her.
Yes.
I'm learning something new.
Yeah. So
who did that song originally?
So I should have looked that up.
We are prepared. Preparedness.
Yeah, I was prepared.
So that was
it was a cover for her too, though.
Well.
Yeah. So that was news for me.
I bet you the listeners and the watchers right now, I bet you it was news to them as well.
Well, there you go. You're welcome.
You just learned some edutainment. So yes, it was a cover for her as well. Apparently, it didn't go as well as when the Fugees or when Lauryn Hill did it. So there's that. But anyway, so the other layer I think that I want to just tap into is like, this is one of the first times that Lauryn and Wyclef are in a space again in such a long time. And so that was like, I wonder how deep this is, because there's this age-old story about like bandmates or, connecting and then it not going foul. Like that happens all the time, right? Right.
Well, apparently I got a quote from him, not him personally, but quote, and basically he said something between us died the moment that he realized that her firstborn son was not his.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if you knew that beforehand, but I didn't realize that there was a question of paternity. I didn't think it had gone that deep or that,
Whoa.
Yes. So he didn't find out that Zion, the one she sang about, the one in Miseducation, was not his child until. So again,
I get it. You know what? Now that I've just learned a lot, and I understand.
so that's huge.
It's not. It's not even. What's a bigger word than huge? Titanic.
Monumental.
Supermarket.
Phenomenal.
It's gigantic because what if that had been his child? And what if we do get 2 or 3 more Fuji albums and projects before? Well, what if we get those but don't get the miseducation? What if we don't get the miseducation?
I know.
Because that is, it's imperative that we have that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Sorry.
It's okay. We did get it. We did get the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, but I just was like, oh, wow, this was bigger than an entanglement.
Entanglement, that word again, huh? Entanglement. This was
Anywho, it was.
It was
It was definitely something, and kudos to them for being able to show up in a space of like uniformity.
Yeah.
For like putting that aside, folks are grown up.
Absolutely. And that song is important to the culture.
Yeah.
And that, to find out that it's a cover of 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 a cover.
A cover of a cover, yeah.
But that is the one that's done the most justice.
Right.
It's like embedded into the hip hop fabric.
We know it.
Like we know it. Yeah.
You
I can
play
see
it,
the video in my eyes.
We're all belting out the notes.
I can see the video.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Oh man. So that's good stuff.
Yes.
That's good stuff. And here once again, just harken back to that again. She was so good in that. In her hair, her skin, she was glowing. Oh. And to see Clef next to him, just next to her, just playing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one time, and that you asked earlier about nostalgia in the song. That might be one of them as well.
It's one of them, right? Oh,
That's
it definitely is. Yeah.
Man,
the list is so long, right?
Right, and you know, once again, not slighting the great Miss Lauryn Hill and all of the. She's taken a hit. Her reputation took a hit. You know, for her being late, to not showing, to even to them. You know, how did she do the musicians by not giving the proper shout outs on the project, as if she was the only one who did the project.
She wasn't paying people right or something
like
that?
I wasn't there, but that's what they were talking about. But her reputation took a hit. You know what I mean? It kind of chopped her legs it kind of chopped her down from greatness just a little bit. Yep. And then when you hear her perform that again, you're like, that's Lauryn. Sorry, Miss Lauryn. Here we are. She out here saving souls, and we worried about her lateness. Ain't that what she did on the Nas song?
Yeah.
I'm out here saving souls, and y'all worried about my lateness. You can be as late as you want, but you can do that.
Yeah.
Good Lord, she destroyed that thing.
She did. She definitely did. Just one other thing, just going back to that, because I made a statement, so I'm going to not challenge myself, but I'm going to correct myself, because I said that was the first time that I think that they were in a space together. But remember, they were supposed to be on tour last year or something like that.
I'm positive that that's not the first time that.
Right. But
maybe in
dramatics, apparently. I'm being dramatic. So I just want to name that. So I don't want anybody coming at me.
Engaging in hyperbole is sometimes needed when you are doing a podcast and communicating to the people. All right. So if you need to engage in hyperbole to get your point across, then I say so be it.
So be it.
Engage.
And just FYI, while you were speaking, Fugees actually had 2 studio albums.
2 studio albums. What was the second one called?
So the main one was The Score.
We used to be number. Okay.
That's The Score. And then, it just went away.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on.
Yeah.
So BLM, a.k.a. Black Lives Matter Plaza.
Okay.
All right. That is being done away with currently, if they're not already done. So the Black Lives Matter Plaza is no more. Right. And a little bit of background. I'm sure you guys don't live under a rock. In Washington, D.C., there is a huge BLM. So called the Black Lives Matter Plaza, in response to the George Floyd murder that happened during COVID, which we'll get to later. There was a response and a call to action, and one of the biggest symbolic representations was that Black Lives Matter Plaza, and you can see the yellow you know what I mean, in big caps going all the way down that street.
Mm-hmm.
And per the request and pushing of a congressman in Georgia, it is now being done. Of course, he's a Republican, but per his request and per his shout out, it is no longer. So they're going to be calling it Liberty Plaza is what the push is now. Liberty Plaza. What say you, ma'am?
Okay, so I have a few thoughts.
Sure. If you got questions, I'll take those as well because there's more to it.
Yeah. So the little bit that I got of that was that they were, they were obviously wanting to like get rid of any types of memorials that are.
They ain't done.
Yeah, right.
They ain't done.
No, but yes. And so anyway, they knock down, or they start the process to knock down the plaza. And so my first thought was like, what is the mayor saying? And then to find out that the mayor, Bowser, I think Bowers, Muriel, is basically like, I don't want to lose any type of funding, so I got to do what I have to do. And so my first thought was like, okay, I get it, but no pushback. I mean, like none whatsoever. But then my second thought was, well, we have an administration, again, don't like to get into a whole lot of politics, but we're dealing with an administration who bullies or wields their power however it is that they need to. And so I can imagine that if there is challenge, if there's any backlash, then okay, well, we're going to punish you. There's one way, and so if she's being forward thinking and wanting to do it, I still wish that there was a little more challenge to it, but I get the rationale.
Right.
I don't agree, but I get the rationale.
Right.
So,
yeah. So for me, I think it's twofold, and you pretty much covered it. It's twofold, and what they're dealing with right now. Let me give some more context.
Sure.
What they're dealing with right now is there's going to be per the administration, they're going to be taking away a lot of jobs, and these jobs are going to affect a lot of people. So there's basically some money that's being pulled because they're struggling financially already.
Right. So
in response to that, she's saying, or it feels like it's just really bad timing. Yes, she's not saying, but it's like, yeah, she should probably push back a little harder, but she's also saying like priorities right now.
Right.
Like I don't have time, energy, the bandwidth does my team to push back on this while also fighting for this thing that she's saying could potentially blow a $1 billion hole, which would kill them. So I kind of get it. And this is the heavy as the crown, that comes with leadership. So I totally understand how she's thinking, what's my priority in this? Let me pick my battle, if you will.
Exactly.
But I also can understand how some people are like, hey, you could have give a little more push. You know what I mean? You can give a little push. Look, she's not going to win in the court of public opinion, right? But either way, this is an administration, as you said, that's moving aggressively. And I guarantee you, she won't be the only mayor under some scrutiny in the next few hours, days, months, years, because they moving hard.
I mean, think about it. Like they just did this call just yesterday, the Department of Ed, and laying off all of these people. So I'm thinking that's what I was saying. Like just thinking about what else is at stake here. So if I can keep funding in other places where I know they're about to eliminate it in other spaces, like let me do what's best. And so I get that she has a better view of what's to come and what she can anticipate than maybe the citizens can. So I definitely, I'm like, I get it. And dang, you ain't try a little bit. Like the human in me is saying those things, but you're right when it comes to that level of power.
It's like you got to pick your battles, man. I totally understand.
Pick your poison.
She's just like pick your battles, like not your poison. But right in this situation, you're probably right.
Picking your poison.
She's probably got to pick her poison.
Yeah.
Man, that sucks. But wow, what a time to be alive.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive. I think the BLM Plaza, the Black Lives Matter Plaza being demolished is a great segue for looking back at COVID, right? Taking a look back at COVID. We're looking at 5 years. The anniversary was yesterday, right?
It was 5, yes.
5 years as of yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting to look back because it feels like it was 2.
Yes.
Right? It doesn't feel like 5 years.
It feels like the longest 2 years of my life, though. It feels like so, yes, it's been 5 years. I remember it's one of those things like 9/11 or the space shuttle crash in 84, whenever it was, right? There are certain things that you're always going to remember in life.
Right.
And when I think about COVID in my adult life and so much unknown, I'll never forget where I was. And so when I saw that it was 5 years, I said, dang, 5 years already?
5 years, that fast. It happened fast, right? It was such a moment.
It was such a blur of a moment.
Yeah, and it kind of feels like time was suspended, but also was flying at the same time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, how does it do both at the same time?
We celebrated our 40th birthdays.
Yeah.
Both of us. And we're 8 months apart, right? But both of so you're kind of at the beginning of the year. And then I'm at the very end of the year. And we both celebrated our birthdays in quote unquote quarantine, which is wild to me. I don't know about you. My 40th birthday is still a blur. Yours, we had just gone into whatever this was going to be.
Remember how I jokingly said that I'm 44, soon to be 45, right? But I jokingly say that 40 never happened.
No.
Like it feels like I didn't get an opportunity to celebrate a birthday as if it
milestone.
It was a milestone. It was 40. It kind of feels like it never happened. So for all intents and purposes, I'm 43.
Yeah.
It's not a leap year per se, but it's the COVID year. So if you live during the COVID year, maybe it doesn't count. So, subtract the year, if you will.
And with that, if we talk about like COVID babies.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Apparently they know how to read and write out the womb.
And scroll.
They can do all of the things. It's amazing.
Almost like God gave them a special gift.
Yes.
COVID babies.
Yes.
You can
were born
read early. COVID babies.
So these babies must be turning 5 in this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
For me, for COVID, once again, it was a moment, right? It was a moment because I can see this vividly as well. But it's almost like the way we did nostalgia earlier, where your instinct is, or your body or your mind wants to go there because I like the smells and the sounds. It's nostalgic. COVID, it's like I know it's in there, but it's like I kind of don't want to relive it. You know what I mean? I don't want to relive it. No. So you got to force your mind to go back to COVID so you can relive these moments, even though nostalgia has a good connotation, but there is some nostalgia in it. Yeah. You know what I mean? But sometimes it doesn't. But, COVID was very, very interesting. I think it did something to our mind. I think it did something to our hearts. We know that it changed our perspective on life, as a family.
So us specifically?
Absolutely.
Yes. So I assume like people in general have their own thoughts about COVID, whether you were married, whether you were single, whether you lived alone or you have, everybody has their own perspective. But and our story was like, oh, wow, it taught us to slow down. Yeah. Because it's layered in privilege. So y'all can judge whoever, right? But the truth is we were in a really good space and we're happily married and were happily married at the time. Yeah. So our perspective is a little bit different, but we also had family that were passing away from COVID. We had family members like struggling through that. So we understand that reality as well. But when when I think about COVID, I didn't realize the impact specifically for our children.
Yes.
Lincoln's being very different from Cheyenne's, right?
Right. Like Lincoln, we have to remind him that he's oblivious. And he's also the only one in the house who hasn't been, who didn't get the shot.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting. So, COVID meant nothing. He got to see his family more and got to be around us more. And he's running around. He was in meetings and just happy to see us all. Where the other one, it was a traumatic moment. She was a mess.
She will not do online learning of any form.
I get it. I totally understand. I get it.
So it's definitely something that we'll never be able to take back. So a moment of the irrevocable, right?
Yes.
It's one of those types of situations, but it's also a learning experience. I think it taught us what's important, what's not so important.
Right.
And it helped us to really prioritize the things that we needed to and to listen to ourselves, listen to our bodies. So, yeah. Anyway.
Definitely changed the
COVID.
landscape. Definitely changed the landscape and the way I thought, the way I seen the world, boy.
In hindsight, I really wish we had taken a couple more vacations.
Look, no one really knew what.
Right.
We didn't know.
Right.
No one can act like they know. No one knew. We didn't know what we were involved in, and no one could imagine how it would affect us emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally. Woo! I still believe, as I say all the time, I believe wholeheartedly that at some point, when the research comes out 10, 15 years now, Harvard and Duke and Stanford, when they all start doing this research on people and some subjects, we'll find that there was some type of effect, good, bad, or indifferent. Yeah, there was something
like
there.
Like a switch or something.
Yeah, there's something. Definitely something there. Definitely something there.
Research has already been done, though, in regards to the children.
Okay.
And the impact that it's had is lasting. It's trickling. And so I think that's made them go inward even more so. And so that's the allure, the addiction in some ways with social
screens
media.
and social media.
And the scrolling and the whatever, all the posting. And so, I was listening on the radio about something. It was some research that they'd already done in the lasting impact. You're
going to send me some of this stuff, man.
I will.
I'm really, really interested.
I don't have any of it with me,
That's
but
fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Man, COVID. And on a lighter note.
Yeah.
On a lighter note.
I was like, sure, let's talk about it.
Right. So, dude from Pennsylvania, I had to make sure I said that. I'm from Pennsylvania, and I know that we can be a little off. I think I'm a little off.
Okay.
But dude from Pennsylvania was trying to take a flight out of Newark International Airport.
Yes.
And as he was trying to get through the checkpoints, all right, they found a turtle in the front of his pants. All right. He was trying to smuggle a turtle on a flight without going through the proper channels.
Yes.
Right. I'm assuming there's some money that's involved with, these different things. I bet you there's money.
You think it was money?
I don't think it was money, but I'm saying I bet you there's more stuff, paperwork, money, stuff, red tape to get through to bring a turtle.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, of course. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize that's what you were saying. I'm like, really? You think he was smuggling it? You think the turtle had something in it?
So, I think there's that. What do you think? How you feel about that?
So I thought it was funny. I was like, this adult is fun-loving, juvenile of some sort. Probably, I have no idea. It did actually bring me back to a childhood memory, because back in the 90s, I went on a trip to Puerto Rico with my grandmother. And I brought back an iguana.
Wow.
And they let me through.
Yo, I learned something new about you every single episode.
I am a closed book.
Yes, you are, apparently. Just like the dog that you had.
We did have a dog at one point.
I'm not challenging the fact that you did. But for some reason in my head, you told the story. And in my mind, there was this dog in the basement. I found out years later this dog had been dead.
Gone. So, okay, you know how I'm very literal.
That's where your son gets it from.
So I am extremely literal.
That's where your son gets it from.
Yes, that's where he gets it from. So here's the long and short of it. The dog had died. This was Max. The pit bull that we had, okay? Yeah. But we kept the sign up. My dad had said, you keep the sign up, people won't know the difference.
Oh, beware of dog.
Yeah. So we kept the beware of dog sign up. And so when you came to visit that day, you were like, oh, is there a dog? And I'm like, well, I was told I'm not supposed to tell people that there is no dog. So I said, yeah, there's a dog. But I said it kind of like sarcastic. So I thought that you could read through the lines and gather like that I was not telling the truth. And anyway, so then I think fast forward a few months and you were just like, so where's this dog? Wow. And I was like,
I fancy myself a fairly sharp guy, but whatever you was throwing, I ain't catch.
I know. And when you tell that, I'm like, you really thought I was telling the truth?
Come on, man.
Anyway, just
Come
getting
on.
back to the Pennsylvania man and the turtle
Okay.
situation. So what? He tried to smuggle. Well, when I was doing the little bit of research that I did, apparently people try to smuggle cats and
All the
things
time.
all the time.
All the time.
And so then it was showing these images of like, actually sending the luggage
Yep.
with the
With
cat.
the cat. Yeah.
Talking about they don't want the airline, they don't want
the airline to put it, to
or
put
the
it down.
tranquilizers or whatever. And I'm like, that's really serious.
It's pretty
to
wild,
me.
right?
It's kind of wild.
It's pretty
Sorry.
wild. It's pretty wild.
Anyway.
Pretty wild.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. But listen to this, though.
Okay.
The Port Authority police took possession. The Port Authority police took possession of the animal and said they would contact the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and local animal control officials. I believe this is the first time we have come across someone who was concealing a live animal down the front of his pants. As best as we could tell, the turtle was not harmed by the man's actions, Thomas Carter, TSA's Federal Security Director of New Jersey, wrote in a statement. I'm so sorry. You gotta let me get this off.
Go ahead.
You gotta let me get this off.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
If a man is smuggling a turtle
In his pants?
in his pants,
Mm-hmm.
I heard a couple of things that blew me away. Because they only have like this little like 20 seconds on YouTube and a 40-second one on local news channel. They're saying it.
Right. It's a little blurb.
Right, little blurb.
Mm-hmm.
They keep talking about how no animal was harmed.
They don't know
I'm
that.
so sorry. It's not about whether an animal was harmed. It's about whether or not this man is mentally sane. Did we gonna skip over the fact that this man has a turtle in the front of his pants? Now, another part. Let me get this off. Let me finish. I believe this is the first time we come across someone who's concealed a live animal down the front of his pants. Are you inferring that you've got people who put it down the back of their pants?
I don't know.
Gerbils?
Oh, God.
Yo, whatever you do is your business. You can't, because that'd be called shaming, right?
Right.
And people like these weird, twisted fetishes that they have.
Right.
But he said down the front of his pants. That led me, where my brain goes, is that you have people try to put it down the back of their pants.
So,
what are we all doing here?
I don't know.
Don't get me wrong. I know that it's important for the animal people,
Mm-hmm.
the animal rights people, to know that no animals are harmed. But they said that way more than they said anything about this man. And that blew me away. You know how I say sometimes to the kids when I'm coaching?
Mm-hmm.
Elbows up, thunderfoot, push the dog down. But don't throw the dog down, because then you'll hurt the dog.
Right.
The dog goes, "Arr!"
Yep.
Right? And I say that all the time. Right? But I always follow up with the joke to the parents by saying, y'all know these animals got more rights than us. So you never throw the dog down. You say down boy, down girl. Elbows up, thunderfoot, push the dog down. But in this case, they went super hard on making sure that they let the public know that no animals were harmed. I'm sorry. To me, y'all, that is a trip. This man obviously has got some things going on, maybe a screw or two loose, a couple sandwiches short of a picnic. But we more worried about these animals being harmed.
He wasn't worried about getting bit.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? I think it's odd. I think there's a lot more odd stuff happening in the story than they're just kind of glossing over. But he is from Pennsylvania and it is New Jersey. Two odd places.
And I'm also thinking, and maybe this is taking a weird turn, so I probably shouldn't, but I'm just thinking about like having something in my pants. The discomfort, but then maybe for a man, like a level of pleasure. I don't know. I'm a woman.
No. It was wrapped up in like a little blue napkin.
A blanket
or
thing.
a washcloth or something, some type of towel or something like that.
Right, but like anyway.
You know what I think? I think we don't know enough about turtles and their habits. Because I'm thinking
don't they
snapping
like retract?
turtle.
Isn't it? Yeah, I mean, but I don't know what kind of turtle it was.
Well,
I don't know.
The guy did clarify what it was. Some type of red something. I don't know. Red something. But either way.
That's French to me.
Right.
But,
Either way, I think there was something off about this man. And I'm really, really tripping because on both news blurbs, 20-second one and the 40-second one that I found on YouTube,
no animals were harmed.
No animals were harmed. And I think it's odd for the TSA director who's got all these things on his mind. Mm-hmm. It's the first time he's seen someone put it down the front of his pants.
Yes.
So he must be seeing some really interesting things in his line of work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It is. That's kind of odd, but
my man had a turtle in his pants. That's interesting.
He no longer has a turtle.
He know. And by the way, guys, no turtles were harmed. That's the world we live in.
Right.
It's the world we live in.
Yeah.
So, I love talking to you. It's really cool.
It's been fun.
It's easy. It's been fun. It's been pretty fun.
Keeps getting better. Every week it gets a little bit better.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And for the 30 people who are watching, tell a friend.
You better claim.
Look.
Times that by.
If you think, hold on. Let me say this. If you think that I'm affected by the number of people who watch this, you're out of your mind. For those who know me, when I said I'm a little off, I'm okay with failure. I'm okay with jumping.
Who's failing?
I'm okay with jumping.
Okay.
Right? We did this specifically to provide something that we see. And we've been told by multiple people that our relationship shines. So why not throw it on a pod and talk about some things the way we talk about it in front of other people? And I guarantee you, give it a year, it's going to be a whole different world because we get busy. We know what we're doing. We believe in what we're doing. And we have something to provide to the space.
That's good right there, babe.
I mean that.
I know.
Now, what's our topic? Because I am so off.
Parental fails and blunders.
Parental fails and blunders.
That's what we're talking about today.
Yeah. Now listen. Listen here.
Don't be judging us. Don't be judging us. That's all I'm going to say.
She said it. Don't be judging us. Because I'm sure some of y'all ain't got yourself together. Knock it off.
Right now.
Right now. So parental fails and blunders. Look at, if you're a parent, there is no manual, right? There might be a how to be a parent for dummies somewhere. I'm sure somebody wrote the book, How to Be a Parent by Dummies, right? You know, for dummies.
I'm sure there's a version of it. Yeah.
Some type of, right? But either way, once again, there's no manual. And I've heard you say it a couple times. They put this child in your hands after about a day or two, or whenever you heal up, and they say, goodbye.
Peace.
And you're saying to yourself, who in the world would allow me to take this child home?
Poor Cheyenne.
Poor Cheyenne. Right? Right. And I'm sure millions of parents have said that. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I see my mom do it. I see it on TV. I see friends do it, but I have no idea what I'm doing.
Right.
We suffered from the same affliction.
We surely did.
Because we just smiled and
and acted like we had it together.
So didn't have it together. So didn't have it together. So we've had some parental fails. We'll share a few of them. We promise not to bore you. Some of them are funny, but really they ain't funny. And if you see us smiling to stop ourselves from crying, you understand why, man. You completely understand why.
The kids are alive.
Right. But did you die?
Right, exactly. So for me, it's all a laughing matter. Yeah. I mean, in hindsight, anything that we're naming today for me is a laughing matter.
Yeah, because my father definitely left the pool in East Hartford and came back looking for me.
After he told you not to move.
He told me not to move. But I'm a 6-year-old boy who said, what?
All that water.
All that water. He'll be back in a second, and I can do this. Remember I said, I'm crazy. I'll do it. I'll do it. And, you know, my father said all he seen was these big old bubble eyes at the bottom of the pool, like.
Remember that time Lincoln thought he was Sonic?
He still thinks he's Sonic.
Right. No, but so we had gone for the tournament in Palm Desert, and he was in the pool. he kept jumping in, and Lincoln, he's not a great swimmer now, but he didn't have the floaties. It was December, and he should not have been in the pool, but it was a really hot day.
It wasn't about Sonic. I believe in his heart.
He was catching bubbles.
That day, he believed he could swim.
No.
Those floaties lied to him.
No. He thought he was like simulating the video game. And so you can catch a bubble, but not to be quiet, like in school world, right? But you catch that bubble and the bubble gives you oxygen. So he kept thinking like he could catch the bubble.
So that's what
it was. But the funny part about it.
Basket. Because remember I had to get him out? I said enough.
That's what I was getting to.
Sorry. Because he almost died 6 times.
He surely did. And you were like over it. But I knew part of it was because of your own stuff with the pool and your dad. And like you said, bug eyes.
Right.
But he was in there like, and he would like come up from under the water, and you snatched him up so quick. Poor guy. I was like,
he burped for like 2 hours.
Chlorine water.
Chlorine water. Chlorine water.
It was so funny. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Sorry.
Wow, I totally forgot about the Tide Pod.
Oh,
Wow. What
okay.
a every time we leave to go to Vegas or somewhere, he pulls a stunt, don't he?
Those two stories were not.
Right. They didn't pop up in your head, did they?
It was the same trip.
Same trip.
The Tide Pod.
You almost died.
Was the
like
same
7
trip.
times.
Okay. So we have to tell this
What,
one.
about him eating the Tide Pod?
So he thought, okay, me being me, decided, oh my goodness, I gotta wash these clothes. I don't want to get home and have dirty clothes. I can be like that sometimes. So let me wash the clothes while we're at the hotel, because it was probably around the time of my birthday, and I think we had plans afterwards. So I was like, I want to just have all of that situated so we can just celebrate my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought 2 Tide Pods from the hotel, but they give them to you like in single. They're not even in packs. They actually open up a container and just, how many would you like? Okay, yeah, $3 a piece. Boom. So I took 2, put them we were in a suite, put them on the table, and they were just sitting there. I had done a load, but there was one more I needed to do. Well, Lincoln thought it was candy. It was so colorful. And what does he do? He bites into the Tide Pod. Steven had left. He had a game that he needed to get to. So he's left, and I'm freaking out now.
Right.
Because now he's like gurgling something.
It
was so weird. He had bit into it. This is gross. But he had already swallowed some of whatever was there.
Lamont, you big dummy.
So what was my first reaction? You need to go to the shower. So I go and put him in the shower. And I'm like, open your mouth. And I turn the shower on. And so the water is just like zooming. And I'm like, open. And I'm trying to like open his mouth. And he's all, because he had,
right.
That whole bubbles thing had just happened like earlier in the day. And I'm like, can you still taste it? And he's like, oh, it's so bad. He's crying and all the things. And I'm thinking, I don't know how poison control works, like how much it takes to.
I don't know how poison control works, is what she said.
I don't know. It. Like, do you call them and tell on yourself? Like, what do you do? And on top of it, I don't know how much he's taken in, so I don't know how it's going to impact his little body. And he was like 3, I think, or almost 4 at the time. So I'm nervous. And I'm like, Steven,
I don't know why you was calling me.
I don't even know.
I'm coaching a basketball team. I got 11 teenagers in the back.
Yes, I know. But I'm like, I never do 911. But I'm like, dude, I need you to call me back. This kid is like having a hard time, whatever. So anyway, thank you so much, his godmother. Mm-hmm. You say, call Miss Jacqueline.
Look.
No, you call her. Did you call her?
I think I called. Yeah, I did. I did.
I think you called. You had the right mind. See, okay, we figured out in emergencies who will execute and who will take the orders.
We know now. It's a real thing.
I take orders.
Yep.
I can't execute.
Yep.
I'm flight all the time.
Straight up and down. But we know that though.
Yes. So he's like, I called Miss Jacqueline. So just for context, that's his godmother, but also she was the babysitter.
Daycare provider
for us from when he was 3 months old. Yep. I handed him over to her. Please take care of my baby while I'm gone. So there's a level of respect and partnership that I have always had with her. Why I didn't think of her, I don't know, but you probably won't hear about her again. Anyway, she says immediately, no, we need milk. He needs milk. Have him drink the milk. And then just wait, because he's going to vomit. So just give him some time. He's going to vomit. It's going to come out. She said probably both ends. So she calls me, fine, relates to me what she had just relayed to Steven. And like clockwork, it took about what, an hour?
Calling me Steven. I'm sitting right here.
Oh, my bad. What am I supposed to call you?
You're talking to me. You're talking to me.
Yeah, but who am I?
Me.
Oh, you mean like we're not talking to...
No, we're having a conversation. They can see it.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, but you're talking to me.
My bad. Okay.
That just happened in real time. Learning on the job.
So anyway, he ends up doing all of the things like clockwork.
Mm-hmm.
She said within 45 minutes.
Oh, I remember. Because he was with me.
No, he was sitting with me in the
After the game, we're coming down. We had just won a game.
Mm-hmm.
And he...
That was the second time.
Okay.
So what happened was she said he'll either have a bowel movement
Mm-hmm.
or he's going to vomit. One of them is going to happen in about 45 minutes. How she knew that, I have no idea. But she'd been in the game too long.
Right.
She knew what it was. So that happened. He's like, Mom, I gotta poop.
Yep.
So we go to the bathroom and it wasn't an accident.
Right.
He did what he needed to do. So I'm like, oh, he's good. Would you like some water? Would you like something else? He didn't really want anything. He still said his stomach was a little bad.
And you offering him food.
Would you? Hey, I'm sure the babe, he hadn't eaten in a while. Like, come on now. He was hungry in the first place. That's why he ate the Tide Pod.
Okay. All right.
So anyway, maybe another 30 minutes afterwards. So now we've been at this game for, I don't know, an hour and a half or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
He's walking with you. Now he's with you because he's feeling a little better. So he's walking with you. Thank God for that nasty brown blanket. Because he goes, it's...
Boom. Yeah, buddy.
So
there's a parent fail.
Because I should have known that my child who as a baby never picked things up off of the carpet or
that was never his thing.
He just never did that. I should have known never would have come. And it did. It came 4 years later, leaving the Tide Pod, not communicating what it was, all of those things. I'm like, in hindsight, like, you fool. What were you thinking?
Well, I mean, Tide Pod, it pops in my mind.
It did look like candy.
You want to bite it.
It looks like a lollipop. Yeah.
I don't know about that. I just want to bite it. It looks like you want to, you know what I mean? You want to bite it.
It's kind of like Willy Wonka.
I hate Willy Wonka, but okay.
When they're in the factory and she's pulling stuff off the tree and just taking a nice big bite of it. It's shiny kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I get it. But in hindsight, I get it even more clearly.
That's my guy.
In the moment, I was just like, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
So he's crying. I'm screaming. Just a whole lot of emotion.
Calling me, and I'm driving a van. Not supposed to be answering the call.
Chain calling you.
I'm not supposed to be answering this call.
Look,
I'm
boy
driving.
coulda.
Yeah, but there's 16 souls. there's about,
There's yours.
Right.
There's your son.
There's my son, but in the moment, as the head coach, I have chosen that if I got to kill somebody, it got to be these kids. I'm joking.
No.
Very responsible.
Right, very responsible.
But that was a trip.
So yeah. So we definitely messed that one up. Or I messed that one up horribly.
Yeah. Cheyenne. She's the firstborn, so she probably got it the worst. Maybe not.
So many that we don't even, I don't know. I don't remember. Yeah.
I guess for me, I'm going to harken back to the spider moment.
Oh.
And she might have been 4.
She was.
Right? Developmentally, you make sure you tap in if you need to tap in while I tell the story.
Okay.
She might have been 4 years old, and we know now, after doing so much research because we are stressed out at this moment, that there's so many things happening in their brain. Mm-hmm. Like, that's when their brains are starting to form, and imagination is wild, and sometimes the dreams get weird, and then when they get sick and they get a fever, it gets even crazier.
Yep.
And she was having a moment.
She was.
And the moment was lasting, the moment might have lasted 2 weeks, but it felt like forever, right?
Right.
And she told us she had a mean fever that we couldn't get down. We would get rid of it, and then it would come back.
She had some sort of viral something going on.
Yeah, that was her.
So she was home with you for a few days, I remember.
Yep.
But she was she was coming out of it at that point. So anyway.
But in that evening, she ran in the room. When she ran in the room the first time, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, it's a spider! It's a spider, not a spider, a spider! It's a spider, Daddy!" So we both get up, we go in there, and we say, look, baby, you know, it's going to be fine. We checked everything. You do the parent thing. You look around, you pick things up, make them feel secure.
Yes.
Right? Make them feel secure. Go in the bathroom. Hey, you know, whether it's a monster or a spider, as she says it. We do what we got to do, and we get back into bed. She ain't done. All right? She comes running back in the room, right? A couple times. We're tired.
Yes.
You get up super early for work.
Yes.
Right? And we're tired. Ain't no more to it. We tired.
Right.
So I remember, you know, saying this fever got her messed up. She tripping, and I laid into her. Enough is enough. You ain't rah,
Did you?
Rah.
Really?
Oh yeah, rah 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 rah.
You
gotta knock it off, cause mom and dad gotta sleep. You don't understand, but mom and dad gotta sleep. We gonna be tired tomorrow, and you got school. You better cut it. Ain't no spider. Where is the spider? Where's the spider? I remember cutting that light off. Cutting the light off, and something told me to go back. I don't know what it was. I got her back in the bed, and I went back and turned the light on. And I see that I shook her bed again, and I hit the wood and got her up, and this big old spider, well, in our eyes, a big spider, took off running. And I said, oh my goodness, for the last couple of nights, this spider has been antagonizing my daughter. I felt awful.
Yep.
I felt awful. I had yelled at her. I had screamed at her. I went off on her. We were tired.
Things he doesn't do.
Right. We were.
Or didn't at the time.
Right. We're human. But she was so adamant about this spider being in her bed, and it ran across my head. I'm like, oh, now you're tripping. Like, now you're tripping, kid. But she was so adamant about it. And we had went in there 3-4 times. We had lost some sleep, and we're just like, ah. And I go in there. For some reason, something said, turn on that light. Turn that light on. Shook her Dora the Explorer, pink.
The chair?
Pink. No, she had sheets.
The sheets.
The comforter.
Yeah.
Shook that, moved it, and then moved her bed. Like, moved it and start hitting it. And that spider took off running. And that I killed that thing. Boom, 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 boom.
In front of her.
Made sure that I killed that thing 100 times. No animals were harmed. Yes, they were in this story. But I felt awful. She had a fever, and we were tired. And we had no help. There was nobody coming to save us, no babysitters or anything. We had to go to work in the morning, and she was tired. And it was like, man, I can't live like this.
Right.
But yeah, that was an epic parental failure.
I think you're missing part of the story, though.
But yes, you know the part of
the nest.
Oh, the nest? No, it wasn't a nest. That was something else. That was under the sink. That I took care of. That was something else. Yep, but that spider came out running. And I was bad daddy. And I felt awful. Okay. She got whatever she wanted the next day.
What a brat.
And probably a couple days after that.
What a brat.
Epic parental failure. And to this day, she has arachnophobia.
She flips out.
Yep, I'm serious. Like, she will freeze.
She having weapons and spray that don't have nothing to do with anything else, and she just will sit there.
You can't kill no spider with potpourri. What is wrong with you, girl?
What are you doing? You would look at her room, and we'd have this stain of whatever it is that she sprayed on it.
That.
You remember that?
Trippy.
And the dramatics. You have to fix it, girl.
Right. She's getting a little better, though. She's getting a little better. Okay. She's getting a little better. Yeah, man. That's one of my epic fails. Ooh, I still feel awful about that. Because she's scared of spiders.
The spider.
And for the record, it wasn't like it was a tarantula. None. It was just a little bigger than average.
No.
Yeah.
So I guess this is a good segue for my fail with Cheyenne. So, I want to say maybe a year later. Yeah, I want to say she was like 5 or so. We did like a mommy-daughter trip. And we went to Palm Springs.
Okay.
And if you know that route, then you know that there's an outlet nearby. And so on our way home, I was like, let's stop at the outlets. And so we go to the outlets. And I was just looking for some shoes for her. She was kind of like outgrowing her shoes. So I go into the store, And she sees a pair of shoes and she's like, there they are, Mom. Those are the shoes. And I'm like, those shoes? Yes, those are it. Those are the shoes. Please, like, what's my size? She wanted to know what her size was so that we could buy these shoes. They were the Skechers sequin light up that if you know me and you know Steven, we're not
buying those Skechers, dog.
We're not. I mean, I think we would now. I know at this point in my life, Lincoln, you want Sonic sneakers that you think make you move fast? Go ahead. But it's because of this experience.
You buying them, I'm not.
So I'd buy them, but Steven probably wouldn't let him wear it unless he was playing at the park, but not with him when he's doing like
in Nova Scotia.
Athletic trials or whatever it is that y'all be, the workouts that y'all be doing. So anyway, right? So we go into the store. She points them out. And I'm like, please, can we just look at some other shoes? And she's like, no, those are it. And they have my size. They have my size. I remember she took her Nikes off. She had some hot pink Nikes and black and pink Nikes. She took it off, looked at the size. You see, I need a bigger size. So she knew that she needed the bigger size. Anyway, we get the shoes. They were $40, right? They were whatever. We get the shoes. We get in the car and she goes, now I can be part of the crew. I'm like, what did you say? Now I can be in the crew with the rest of the girls. I'm like, what do you mean? They told me, this is her. They told me that I couldn't be in there unless I had the shoes. But when I asked you, you told me that I couldn't have them. Let me tell you, she was so happy sitting in that back seat, smiling with her shoes on. And I'm trying to hold back tears. Because if I had just listened to her, had I just left room for her to tell me why it was so important to her, then maybe she would have had the shoes a month earlier.
Our stuff.
It's our stuff.
Our stuff.
I'm trying to get her Jordans and don't you want to wear Timbs and all this. And she wanted them sequins.
Some sequins Barbie or whatever it was. Skechers that the rest of the goofy girls
they were like
at her school had.
Bejeweled. They had
bedazzled.
Yes, they had all of those things.
I remember them stupid shoes.
And she wore them. Ooh, she wore them. That big toe was like scrunched up. She just kept wearing them. But yes, so in hindsight, right? Like 40-something-year-old me thinks about that situation and just goes, oh, why didn't you just listen to her?
I felt that.
Thank you.
I felt that. I felt it. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I get it, man. I get it. And it intensifies, guys. Like I said, we ain't perfect. We just out here trying to make it, man. But did she die, though?
She did not die.
And will she wear some Skechers now?
She will not.
Absolutely not.
And let me tell you, socially, she's doing all right.
She's improving.
I mean.
She's improving.
No,
she doesn't realize how much of a leader she is.
Right. Right.
She's a leader. She comes from leadership.
But she doesn't have trouble making friends or being a part of a group.
Never.
And so I'm happy because I might have really been like, oh man, this has really impacted her.
Oh Lord. I need therapy. I might have been the reason.
Hey. We not knocking therapy here.
I'm not knocking. I'm in therapy. What you talking about? I'm in therapy.
You're right.
I got a session coming up soon. I got to check in.
Mm-hmm. Good.
I think I'm doing well.
I think you are too,
well.
babe.
I think I'm doing well.
I think the kids are doing well also. It's up for debate. It definitely depends on the day. It's up for debate.
But look,
okay, go ahead.
I'm up. It's on me?
It's you.
Oh, we got tons of these, guys. Grab a seat. Grab a beverage. We got a ton of these. But did our kids die, though? No.
They did not.
So, Link, my guy Link.
Our guy.
My guy Link. Man. So, I'll paint the picture, right?
Go for it.
I'll paint the picture. So, it's wintertime.
So November.
November. So, it's getting cold outside. So,
15th.
Okay, so we got the heat on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what I do is I get up early. I'm the first one up so I can turn the heat on to make sure the family is warm while they're preparing for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what you should do.
Right.
And in that preparation, I generally cut it off. Everybody starts to get up. I cut it off. Baby boy is how old?
He's 10 months old.
10 months old, right? So baby boy is 10 months old, very mobile on his knees and, crawling.
Not quite walking.
Not quite walking yet, but he moves and he's got his cheche. He got his cheche bottle that keeps him moving, right? So he's chilling, watching TV. I'm getting Cheyenne ready. And I remember putting on her little tie, the tie that crosses like this. The girls do the tie.
The girls' uniform.
Pins in the middle for her uniform. Her hair is already done because you had taken care of that. So it's a basic, it's a regular morning. Nothing different, run of the mill.
I was
routine.
already gone.
And you had just left.
Okay.
You had just left.
Okay.
So all I had to do was get her ready. You know what I mean? Throw his stuff on and we were good to go. So he had his bottle and we have this old school square heater in the house. I don't know if y'all know there's an old
floor heater.
Floor heater. They don't even make them anymore. But it's a floor heater. And when I tell you that thing kicks, it kicks. You look down. If you look down into it, you could see the fire and stuff happening down there, right? Almost like Kevin McAllister in Home Alone. When he's like, shut up. And it goes in the basement. And but it looks like that. But you can see all that happening down there. And I forgot to turn the heater off. Forgot to turn the heater off. So Cheyenne and I are across the room. All right. Me and baby, we see baby boy over there, but his bottle rolls. And boy, is he fast on his knees. He gets to rolling. And the bottle or his bottle or cup, kind of sippy cup, kind of like rolled toward the heater. And he touches the heater. And as Cheyenne and I run, I mean, it's not even a second. It only takes a second. But he touched it, boom, with one, boom with the other hand, and kind of, I think because of him being so young, he didn't recognize how to get off. He didn't know, so he submitted to it and put his head down. Right there. By the time it happened, I grabbed him, right? Cheyenne has no idea because he made no sound. There was no sound that came out of his mouth. But there was no sound that came out of his mouth because he was in shock. And nothing came out. And then finally, he lets out the biggest roar ever. And all I'm saying to myself is, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, baby boy, ooh, baby boy, ooh, 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 baby boy. Okay. So obviously I call you. You know what I mean? I call you and you rush back. And I could barely talk. I don't even know what I sounded like on the phone. I could barely talk.
Frantic.
But his hands were starting to swell rapidly. I'm talking about these things were swell like balloons. His hands were swelling up. And he is hysterical. And I'm holding him.
Couldn't even.
Yeah.
He couldn't.
He couldn't even catch his breath. Right? So Cheyenne sees it and now she starts to cry.
Yes.
She starts to cry. And I'm like, oh my Lord, what have I done? Like, what have I done? What have I done? But naturally, I call you, you rush back, you bust through the door. I don't even think you closed the door when you walked in the door. You bust through the door, you grab him up. And I start thinking, you know me, I'm a thinker. So I'm like, all right, what's our next move? So I'm like, okay, cool. She's not hurt. She's seen it, but she didn't even realize because he didn't say anything, right? So cool, I got to get her to school. Let's get her to school. That's important because we have a day. We obviously have a day in front of us. So I get her to school, come back, and what do? It's Jackie.
We go on over to Miss Jackie.
Go right over to Miss Jackie, who lives right behind us. We rush him over there, and we are frantic. She's like, but she can't even hear us because she's
thinking.
Already moving. She's moving. Pow, 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 pow. And
she's picking stuff aloe from the aloe plant.
She cut the aloe plant fresh. Yep.
She runs. She starts to put it, like, smear it all over his hands, and she's trying to, like, console him while she's
praying.
Yes. Oh yes. She was praying, and so she's putting it over his hands and on his forehead, and then she's trying to, like, talk to us, but it's very coded. What she was saying to us, like, let's just wait a little bit and let's see how his hands, if they continue to swell. And we're like,
Right. We don't know what to do. So listen to this. This is a very real thing. I'm going to talk to the parents out there that are watching because I'm talking to my wife, but she lived it and you can see her pain as we do this. But in the moment, I know she hates me. In the moment, I know my wife hates me. In the moment, I know she hates me. She's blaming me and she has every right to. I feel awful, but I have to take care of my baby boy. But together, we both had this idea, like, I don't know where it comes from. Maybe it's trauma. Maybe it's you working with DCF at some point and me working indirectly with DCF at some point. We're saying to ourselves, are we going to prison? Like, are we about to get locked up? Are they going to take our baby from us? Like, what's going to happen? Because is this neglect? What happened? So we're thinking about that as well. And Miss Jackie was like, y'all need to.
No, she didn't. She told us not. Okay. So sorry to cut you off. Her first thought was, why don't you monitor? You can keep him here. You guys stay here. But let's monitor and see whether or not we need to take him to the hospital. And we both look at each other.
And we're like, nah, we bring in baby boy. So we snatch him up. And I remember the car ride.
It was the longest car ride.
But he fell off. She gave him some aspirin.
Yes.
Yeah, she gave him some some aspirin or some Tylenol.
Put him to sleep.
He knocked off because he knocked off. She had his hands. And I remember going to that doctor. It was such a monster.
We went to the children's hospital.
East LA, baby.
No, we went to the children's hospital first. Remember, we went there
and then first. And
then they sent us to a specialist.
Got it.
So we go there, and so we have to go through the process twice, basically. So we go in there. So we go in there, and we're like, here's what's happened. And so you tell the story, and I'm sitting there kind of like how I was just now. As you're telling the story, I was just sitting there like and crying.
Right.
And then another doctor comes in because they ask you the same thing.
Right. Well, they had to find out whether or not they're going to put us in prison. I
don't know if it was like that, but they wanted to find out what had happened, and they were trying to determine what like their next steps were going to be as well. Like, how long has it been, or like what type of time? And so because they kept asking us times. And so we were like, no, like we took him to our sitter because she's just savvy that way. She gave us this, and then we decided to come and see you. And so from there, we were waiting for paperwork because they were telling us now we had to go and see the specialist because there was something they were going to have to do. Like they were going to have to, they were going to have to do for him. And so now one doctor is here, and I remember asking her, like, are we going to lose our baby? I remember that.
And they were like, she was like, knock it off. She was like, I remember her saying, what heater do you have? And she was like, it's these old heaters. And she was the one that told us they don't even make parts for that thing anymore. She said, we see this often. She said, there's a difference. She said, you can tell when a child's being pressed. And then she started to talk about the things that people do to their kids.
It was wild.
And that was rough for us to hear, right? She was like, nah, he's a child. She was like, this stuff happens. Those heaters aren't even permitted anymore. They don't make parts for them. Once it dies, it dies.
Right.
You know what I mean? If it dies, it dies.
It dies. Yep.
Right. So, we get there to the second, and
now we're at the
Children's Hospital, East LA.
Yeah.
Right. So we get there, and the nicest nurse. She had a different name, a very unique name. That I
don't remember her name.
It doesn't matter.
It's all a blur.
But she had a very unique name, and she took care of us. She took care of our boy, and she let us know that we was going to be fine. And that was tough for us to hear because we were like, no, this boy's in major pain. So, she sees it, she checks it out, and she was truthful with us. She said, I don't know what's going to happen after. You might have to come back. We're going to follow up, obviously.
Right.
But she was like, I don't think there's any permanent damage. She said, if there is permanent damage, it would be because he's so young and his hands are going to continue to grow.
So,
right. So I'm almost there. So what she does is, if you look at his hands, they were grates, and he still has the grate marks, right?
Right. So we all have like typical like veins and whatnot, and his actually cross.
Yep.
He's got more.
And then
he's got a line across his forehead.
So we get there, and she says, I'm so sorry. Like, we have to bust it. Because now at this point, his hands are huge. They are like swelling like balloons. And she's like, we have to bust them. that's all. It's all.
Or it would create webbing.
Yep.
She
We have
said,
to.
yeah.
We have to bust them. And she's like, you're gonna have to hold him down. So obviously, I sent my wife away, and she was like, I can't watch this. But remember, he's a year.
No.
Not even a full year.
He's 10 months old.
So 10 months old, you'd be shocked how strong a 10-month-old is when they're being pushed, right? So I had to put the boy between my legs, put him in between my legs, and I had to hold his hands so he couldn't move. With all my might, I had to hold his hands. And they take his hands, and she took this thing, almost like a nail file, and she starts, rah, 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 and he is going off. I mean, he is screaming his rah, 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 and it was awful. There's tears coming down. I got tears.
I'm crying in the waiting room.
But my eyes but I can't take my eye off this thing because I have to hold him. I got my legs now, and you can't believe that a 10-month-old can muster this much strength, right? But after that, that's when they started to treat him, and she came back and was like, oh, he's going to be fine. She was like, he's going to be fine. There'll be no webbing, this, that, and the third. But she was like, it will. He'll keep the scar forever, but he'll be just fine. Long story short, or short story even longer, we ended up in Atlanta. Not even a week later, I believe it was, because it was right before Thanksgiving. We were traveling to Atlanta to my brother's house for Thanksgiving, and they wrapped his hands up, right? They wrapped his hands up, put some meds on it. We were told to give meds every whatever, and that boy moved around for a couple of months, like nothing mattered. He got faster on his knees.
He had the bandages for maybe 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. But because it was so restrictive for him, he was scooting for a little while. I think that lasted a day.
Right. And he got to moving.
And he started walking soon after.
Yeah. That was rough. And for the record, we still live in that same home, and that heater no longer exists.
When we did the remodel,
we made sure
that was one of the first things to
go. And if you look at his face, you can see a little scar, but other than that,
picture of
right. But he's good. And the funny part is Link, he wants to know everything because he never forgets anything. Link, do you know what happened to your hands? Yeah, I remember. No, you don't.
He doesn't remember, but it's so interesting, the impact, right? Because that grate stayed there. We just remodeled a couple years ago. It stayed there, but he would never go near it after that. So he would be in full stride.
I sat in that car. Thank you for saying that, my love. Thank you for prompting me. My pops. Yeah. I called my pop. I'm in the car. You're in there. I had a little bit of time. So there was some time for us to wait before they did whatever. And I went and told my pops this graphic, horrifying, terrible story about what had just happened. And I remember him telling me, because I'm like, Pop, should I do this? Should I do that? I got some ideas. And he was like, son, I know you're upset. I know you're embarrassed. And I know you're hurt. He said, but you're a parent. You're going to fail. And that's when he told me the story of me jumping in the pool. You know what I mean? He said, I told you to wait. I'm just going to go grab something, come right back. Come back, couldn't find you. Either way, he was like, don't put anything on it. I said, what? He said,
on the heater.
He said, don't put anything on the heater. And I'm like, my son just burned his hand on this heater.
Second degree
burn. And you're telling me not to put anything on it? He said, I promise you, he won't ever go anywhere near it. And am I lying, Lizzie?
He did not.
He could be running full speed. And he would go right around that thing. He would pivot, and we never had an issue with it ever again. That is so crazy, but that is such wisdom, right? Parents being parents. Man, that's good stuff.
Yeah. That was tough.
That's tough, but it's easier to tell now. Because for a moment, it wasn't easy to tell.
I don't tell that story.
Right.
I definitely, I leave that one for you, but hearing it secondhand, experiencing it in some ways secondhand, it doesn't get easier.
Oof. Rough. You made it.
Yeah.
And he was a G.
Well, that's Lincoln.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the experiences that we've shared today, right?
That's just a few of them.
That's just a few, right?
I can't tell you how many times, whatever.
And we've leaned really into like younger spaces. Every time that we were talking about the kids, or the fails, we're talking about things that they did as a child or as a
Right.
younger child, right? And I think there's a list of things that I could give you in regards to like what I'm learning as a parent to a teenager that I'm, like I failed miserably because I was matching energy, right? Like I was thinking about those things, and I really should not. I should get quiet. But those are things that I had to learn in this process. An example that I actually was going to bring up about Lincoln, it's the same information. It's the same idea. He had like this meltdown one time and it would not go away. But I had the idea like, I'm gonna yell over him, or I'm gonna make him do something. And it's like, yes, he was 2 or however old he was, but that information is relevant to me now dealing with Cheyenne, and vice versa. So I guess my point is like we learn in these spaces. There's so much trial and error, but it's also just like our kids are teaching us things and reminding us of things that we never, maybe we thought we'd figured out. Maybe that's what it's come down to. But specifically that thing. Like I'm matching energy. No, I'm not matching energy. Not anymore. Not with my teenager, not with my 7-year-old.
It's interesting you say that, because at the end of the day, it's reciprocal. You know what I mean? There's a reciprocity that happens between the kids teaching us and us teaching them. You know what I'm saying? And it's beautiful, if you will. We're talking about some really graphic, ugly things, that can happen, epic fails. But it's a beautiful thing if you really, really pay attention to what's happening, how they're teaching us and how we're teaching them. Because the truth is now is at some point our babies will have babies and we'll be grandparents.
Right.
And we'll be able to offer some wisdom the same way my father did through that phone that day. That was something so simple, that he was able to provide for me in that moment to just, hey, man, relax.
Yep.
First of all, you're imperfect. All of us are. Let me show you how I failed. Right. And also, let me show you how you're going to be fantastic moving forward.
Right.
Right. Because I shared something else with him that day as well. Because I felt guilty. There's a different guilt that I was experiencing and probably magnifying. So it was interesting to see that, man. There's nothing you can do at the end of the day. There's no manual for how to raise these kids, man. Sometimes you get it wrong, but they live to tell the story. And I have never judged my father for leaving the pool to go whatever. That's not something I ever talk about. Like, I'm crazy. You know that. I bet he learned. Don't
ever do that again.
Yep. Don't
ever do that one again. Yeah.
And I'm still a rookie swimmer, by the way. Level 1.
Not after this summer.
Oh boy, you got something.
Swim lessons on deck, buddy.
All right.
Yes. Okay. So just a quick transition, because apparently we are not the only parents that fail.
Really?
There are actually some celebrities who fail. And so I scoured the internet a little bit, got an article from Mamma Mia. Don't know who they are, but they had an article out, and it was about like 10 parent fails. And so a bunch of celebrities are talking about their parent fail. Pick this one in particular, not because of the person, but because of the fail. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So Will Smith recounts his biggest failure. It's kind of not a failure, but he has a very hands-off. He and Jada apparently have a very hands-off approach to parenting. So they
obviously
correct, right? Captain Av. So apparently this is what they've always been, but their children have shown up in that space very differently. So in particular, Jaden, and Will recounts this, him just having a really hard time like understanding boundaries, and so because of it, he will try anything. He is fearless. His artistic creativity is what it is.
Right.
And so he's like, so Will, as he's recounting this, what he says is like, that was the first time that in this space I was just like, oh no, like I'm afraid for my son.
Terrified.
Because he is so fearless because we have been such hands-off parents that we really allow him to try anything.
Full expression.
And some kids will do it lightly. You know, they'll kind of like toe the line. But apparently Jaden does not. And so throughout the years, he has shown them time and time again, like, you should be afraid because I'm going to do something that's kind of wild.
I'm going to do it.
Yes.
Oh, well, that is extremely interesting because that explains a lot.
Yeah, right?
I mean, kids are going to be who they are, no matter what you do.
Exactly.
They're going to be who they are, and they tell you who they are early.
Early on.
They tell you early, right? Their personalities, what they'll do, what they won't do.
Right.
Lincoln's not a big height guy, but he'll fly with no problem. He'll fly.
Oh, he doesn't.
But as far as swings and climbing to the highest part of the
he's only about to go
playscape,
60%.
He'll only go just so high. Cheyenne, which is interesting because she's flipped now. Now she's a little more reserved. This chick, we would have to be like, yo, you can't jump off the top of that.
She was a year old.
You can't jump. She was like, I'm jumping, bro.
And the McDonald's playscape.
Jumping.
Up. And we're like, who's going to get her?
Who's going to get her? I can't even fit up there. Who's going to get her?
Right.
So she got to make it. She's got to make it. So that's really interesting to see. I think that's a really good piece of information. I bet you there's a ton of them out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that boy is fearless. He is fearless because Lord knows I see him sometimes and I'm like, yo, did you unlock? I like to use the word with Jada and Will that they unlocked their kids. My man Corron and I say that they might have unlocked them a little too early. But that's me judging from a distance. What do I know? Once again, these kids will be who they are, whether you do this or that or anything. And shout out
but they encouraged it.
They encouraged it.
And so here we are, right?
Shout out to Miss Jackie, not Jackie, but Fairview Jackie. One of his administrators at his school who shared with me that I was probably putting a little bit too much on, what we were going to do education-wise for him. Like, what school is this? And she was like, I'm so sorry, I could be wrong, but a lot of times I'm right. I've been doing this for a while. A kid like that is going to be great in a public school, private school, special school for kids with special gifts and stuff. She was like, he gonna be who he's gonna be, and he's just one of them. And maybe that's what it is with Jaden. But I bet you it's cool to hear Will humanize himself more as time wears on. You know what I mean? I think that makes him, the more human you are, the more what's the word? Personable you make yourself. It makes people connect with you.
Definitely. I'd also say, I'd love to add just in regards to Lincoln that his fearlessness looks a lot different from what we were talking about, like in terms of like having a fear of heights and things like that. But Lincoln does not care about what people think.
It is such a blessing to see that.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
And maybe it's a difference between male and female.
Well,
but I just don't care. No. I don't care what you think of me.
Yeah.
Now, in respect to business, I do want you to think the truth about me.
Yeah.
Not highly, but I want you to think the truth of who I am. But the fearless part, like the fearlessness, I'm going to try it. I'm going to give it a shot. If y'all know me, I'm going to give it a shot. And I don't care how you feel about it.
He definitely will as well. He'll just like bust out into dance or song or
him singing the other night. Remember he was on a PlayStation with his homeboy.
Oh yeah.
And they communicating through the
remote.
The remote. Through the
or the controller. Sorry.
And I'm like, wait, they're not even on screen. They just talking. But just the way he was just singing. I can't imagine being free enough to sing around my homeboys. Yo, hey bro, you killed me, bro. You supposed to protect. I'm like, wow, look at this kid. Look at this kid.
And Shy definitely showed some fearlessness in other spaces, like when she was dancing.
Man, she was another human.
She would
Sasha Fierce.
Yeah, Cheyenne was very like, she's charming, right? She will she'll get you. She'll draw you in, but she's also really quiet. Or at the time when she was younger, she was very quiet. You have to ask a couple questions. You have to earn her.
Yeah.
She's sweet as pie, but you have to earn.
Like De Niro said in, not analyze this, but Meet the Parents. talking about Jinx and talking about cats and dogs. How cats make you earn their affection. They don't sell out like dogs.
Exactly. So she's always been that type of child, right? But there was just a level of fearlessness when she would dance, which wowed us because we're like, who is that?
Who is that kid?
Who is that child? I don't know her. But she would get out. Remember the first performance, and they put her. She had been in dance for like 2 months, and they put her in front and center. And this, she didn't cower. She was like,
"I'm here.
Y'all better follow me."
Right. Let's get it.
Yes. So I know that their fearlessness shows up in very different ways, and now she's a teenage child.
Teenage love.
Yeah. So she's dealing with a whole lot of different things that make that social circle so
kids,
much.
Man.
Definitely.
These kids are talented.
Definitely.
I think way more gifted than us. Way more gift. They've got more gifts than us. I know we're still exploring, but these kids, I think the environment that we're creating is allowing them to try stuff. And attempt. You know what I mean? And once again, him more so being less fearful of failure than she is.
Yeah.
But back in the day, she was.
Exactly.
So she's been through it. Very cool, man.
Yeah, definitely. So
parental failures and what was it?
Blunders.
And man, let me tell you something.
Blunders.
Blunders.
So the recollect.
Let's get after it.
Okay. So the recollect is thinking about your own childhood, right? A parental fail, not your own, that you've taken into parenthood.
So take it into parenthood?
So like something that your parents did that was like horrible, that you were just like, yeah, so that wasn't okay.
Yeah.
But not like traumatic, nothing like, but just thinking about.
Well, I love my parents. I love my parents, and they are what they are. You know what I mean? And they're imperfect, but they're perfectly mine.
Sure.
Right? I'm going to go ahead and go a little deeper and say, just say the coaching through relationships. As I got older, as you know, my father started to coach me. But I think as a young boy, 13, 14, 15, being a little accelerated in my pursuit of women and, in relationship and, all of those things, I think I was a little young. Maybe I started the process earlier, being a 90s baby and all that R&B that we were listening to. But either way, I think I thought I'll make sure that I coach earlier. That doesn't mean that I'm going to let them, that doesn't mean that I'll allow them or will push them towards dating in that world, but it's going to happen. So I'll make sure that we're there around to coach, as you already are participating in. You're coaching. And I don't think my father dropped the ball, but I now know why he opted not to. There was some pain.
Right.
There was some pain there. And so I'll make sure that I coach through everything.
Okay.
Coach and allow to fail and those type of deals, so that way they have a better success rate or a better opportunity to have success, even though relationships are what they are.
Complicated and beneficial at the same time.
It grows you.
Yeah, definitely.
What about you?
So mine was lighthearted. I was hoping you were going light. So I was thinking about milk. So as kids with dinner, my mom would make us drink milk. And I know that probably wouldn't have worked for you because you don't like milk.
Someone tried it.
Right.
You forgot that someone tried it?
Right. So we had to drink milk like with our meals it was like a stint of time or whatever. Yeah. I don't even know if my sister will remember this. But anyway, so we used to have to drink the milk, and I didn't mind milk. So it was okay. But sometimes milk doesn't go great with like meatloaf. That was like I hated that meal as a kid.
And meatloaf? Bro. That ain't it.
And that is a fail for me. Big time. Why are you doing this to us? Give me water. Just give me water. And let me pick around the meatloaf. There's a lot of people who like meatloaf, by the way.
Mom, meatloaf.
and a glass of milk. And I was like, I won't do that.
You know what's funny?
It's a fail.
You've heard this already. We all know this. But that generation under us, they were marketed and promoted to via milk.
Right.
And milk does the body good. Right? Because we still remember milk does the body good. The truth is that milk is not needed after a certain part of our development.
It's pretty early too.
Right. Really early. And milk comes from cows. Who's supposed to have the cow's milk? Their children. Right? Not us. Now, it helps in making great dishes and all these different things. But the idea that generation came up learning, they sold it to us. They gave it to us. You know, so you're eating this meal. Can you?
Yes.
Lord have mercy.
It was a fail.
And milk.
A fail. Yes. We had to have milk with at dinner. You had to have a glass of milk. Yes.
I just ain't need to drink nothing.
And I didn't, this is the thing. I'm like, I don't even dislike milk. I don't even dislike it now. But I promise you I don't want it with my dinner. Maybe with dessert. As a kid. But yeah. So anyway, that was a fail for me. And I was not taking that into my journey of parenthood. But I get it. I get it. They were trying to be healthy.
Ma.
Don't do that.
I love you. Boy, do I love you. But milk and meatloaf? I love you. Lord have mercy. Oh, that is one heck of a recollect. I'm trying to get it out of my mind now.
Sorry.
I got to get it out of my mind.
So sorry.
Guys, I'm finicky. I'm a finicky eater. If you're following us, you're learning that I'm finicky, and I mean really, really finicky.
He's
and there's
very
a reason.
finicky.
I'm very finicky, and there's a reason for it. If I don't eat it, it don't smell right, don't look right. No. And my son's the same way.
He is.
If it don't look right, smell right, taste right, don't put that thing in front of me and hit us with the old school. You're going to sit there until you eat it. Well, I will sit here till I die.
Yep.
Because that's not happening.
I'll be there till school in the morning.
So I refuse to do that to my baby boy or any kid that's finicky like that.
Milk and pasta.
Wow. Another epic fail.
I mean, it wasn't.
In my head,
it didn't discriminate. It wasn't just for a specific meal. It was for at dinner time. We bought the gallon of milk, and it wasn't just for cereal. Oh man, this show got me thinking about all these things that I've never thought about before. That's so interesting. Anyway, it was a fail. I still love y'all, but I will not do that.
Look at my face. Yeah, man. But no.
Okay.
Once again, we appreciate everyone who's tapped in with us. Hit the like button, subscribe, catch us on IG, Marriage for Grown Folks, as well as TikTok, Marriage for Grown Folks.
We're on
Check
TikTok,
out,
y'all.
Yeah, TikTok. I hate TikTok.
You gonna be doing dances?
I'm not. Watch me end up dancing by the end of the week.
Whipping and nay-naying?
No. Who? What?
I don't know why I thought that.
You'll catch me electric sliding before you catch me whipping and nay-naying, or dabbing or whatever.
Is that a dab? No.
Don't ever do it again.
What is that?
Don't ever do it again. You look like you had a seizure for a second. Once again, if you subscribe to this beautiful thing that we call marriage, please tap in with us. I promise you this is a safe space. I promise you. I know we wilding out. We have a good time. This is my beautiful wife. This is just who we are. All right? Edutainment at its best. Catch you guys soon. Love you.
Marriage for Grown Folks.
Marriage is for grown folks.